Hello everyone, Singularity here, bringing you another game from the Gold Ladder. It's a Zerg versus Zerg here on... I forgot to check the map. I believe this is... I really don't remember what this map name is, I'm sorry. It's one of the newer maps and I still haven't memorized it. So I'm bringing myself, the blue Zerg, against Egg, the red Zerg. And we're spawning on cross positions on this very large map. And, yeah. Interestingly, Egg is going for the extractor trick with the drone that allows him to get to 11/10 supply, and has been demonstrated, I think, enough times that it's just not cost effective at all, unless you're going for a very early aggressive play. But if you're playing somewhat standard, it's not worth it. Now he's got 3 larvae here. I don't know what he's going for an 11 pool after using the extractor trick, and only then continuing to macro up. However, this does get him his spawning pool earlier than mine, as I'm going for a 13 pool, which is what I usually do against a Zerg player, just because it lets you play a macro game, but at the same time, if your opponent goes for some kind of early cheese, even for a 7 pool or 6 pool or a spine crawler rush or that sort of thing, it does let you have Zerglings out fast enough that you can deal with it, except on a tiny map like Steppes of War, but at least that one's not in the ladder rotation anymore. Now you can see here I just put a whole bunch of waypoints. The only reason to do this is so that I can focus on something else. Focus on my macro. Now, I saw this drone go over here. I know that he's there. I'm thinking, what is he trying to do here? So I have my Zerglings coming out right now. At least the first 2 Zerglings, and he really shouldn't have moved this drone over here. I set the rally point to the drone, but just here I have no vision. So he starts making a spine crawler, and it's a strategy that works if you can do it early enough. But as soon as these Zerglings come out, there's just no way that the spine crawler is ever going to finish. At least not without some kind of support. Now he was trying to steal the geyser here, but as you saw, as soon as he moved onto the creep, you can use the creep to help your Zerglings get a better surround and then attack. So it's something that's worth doing. And you got the 2 overlords that kind of saying hi over here. Egg putting up his roach warren at 19 supply. 19 supply if I'm not mistaken. And now he puts down a spine crawler here because, hey look, where are the Zerglings? There are no Zerglings in this base. However, the queen is about to finish, and I notice, hey, there's no units here, and the roach warren just finished. There's the spine crawler over here, but now all the drones are coming in to fight, and I know 4 Zerglings are not going to beat that many drones. Doesn't matter. 16 drones. There's just no way that the Zerglings could beat that. Now he's got his overlord following mine. What this will do is I can't just sneakily get this overlord in and get some vision before being spotted. Now he's got 2 spine crawlers going up. That's going to be enough to stop 2 Zerglings any day. And he'll probably stop a decent number of Zerglings. But at this point I've already transitioned out of Zerglings into roaches. Actually, amusingly, because I saw this roach warren, if I had seen that he was going for a lot of Zerglings, I made a baneling nest just in case. Now this is something I do a lot. Some of you may disagree with this, but it's something that you might want to consider. In a Zerg versus Zerg especially. Because sometimes the different builds kind of counteract each other. If you have 40 speedlings coming into your base, your 8 or 10 roaches just aren't going to cut it. But if you have a baneling nest available, your 8 or 10 roaches can buy you time while you get your banelings up. And 1 or 2 banelings will kill off all those zerglings. So it's just something to consider. I'm afraid to look. Yeah, my APM isn't really that great. I'd gladly look for tricks to raising my effective APM. I don't like spamming just because it feels like a waste. I could be doing more effective things. Anyhow, I've had the spine crawler up because when I lost most of my zerglings, I thought, hey, maybe something's gonna happen here. But nothing came of it. Now, he's not keeping up on his macro either, so I kind of don't feel as bad myself. Because at least I had my queen keeping up. And I've been starting to spread the creep. I noticed that my opponent doesn't have a single creep tumor. And somewhere along the way I end up dropping that overlord into the base. He's got an infestor pit coming at 8.5 minutes. Interesting, considering that he hasn't pushed out a single time yet and hasn't taken a single expansion. Now I'm running off 2 base, and I'm a little concerned, honestly. Every time that I've played Zerg versus Zerg, if I didn't get any kind of pressure early on, I generally got steamrolled a few minutes down the line. So, another thing I've seen is a lot of Zerg players will say on a Zerg versus Zerg, spreading the creep is a bad thing. Honestly, I disagree. But the reason for that is that although both players will benefit from it, you're going to get vision everywhere you have creep. And vision is worth quite a lot. Sure, you can get speedlings coming in real quick, but honestly, fine. Now I got Overlord speed upgrade, and then moved in here, saw all this. I see this infestor pit, and then I see this hive. I'm going, what is going on here? There's no Hydra Den, no Spire, nothing. What is this? What is this build? What is this? I don't even... Well, there's infestors out, and he's researching the pathogen glands, which means he's probably going to be really using a lot more of these infestors. I get my own infestor pit out. I had the intention of using infestors. I don't think it ever happened. Which tends to happen quite a lot with me, honestly. I'll get the infestor pit and then not use it. Something worth noting is that the fungal growth has changed a little bit. As you can see, instead of dealing 36 damage over 8 seconds like it used to do, now it'll do it over 4, so you're pinned for only half the time. And at the same time, it'll deal an extra 30% damage to armored units. This is huge, if over time. It doesn't seem like much. I mean, 30% more of 36 comes out to maybe 10 damage if you round it. At worst, it might be an extra 9 damage. But consider that for a moment. That's 45 instead of 36. Okay, doesn't seem like much. You do it every 4 seconds, right? So instead of 72, you've done 90. Instead of 108, you've done 135. And you see, that's where it really adds up. It'll take 4 instead of 5 fungal growths, for example, to kill a siege tank now. You'll have done 144, if I'm not mistaken. If before, that was over 24 seconds on top of that. Sorry, over 32 seconds. But now you'll have done quite a bit more than the 160 that the siege tank actually has, and you'll have done it in half the time. Now here's something I never expected to see. There are Ultralisks coming out. You got the Ultralisk Cavern. He's not researching the chitinous plating. I've always heard it as chitin. Chitinous. Chitinous. Not chitinous. But I can be wrong. I'm gonna look it up a little later. Maybe in my next video I'll mention it if I remember to. Interesting thing about Ultralisks, they're immune to snares, they're immune to stuns, they're immune to mind control. You cannot neural parasite an Ultralisk. You can't fungal growth an Ultralisk, or at the very least it won't be pinned in place for it. It's an armored, massive unit, so it walks through force fields. And you can't stop them, except by putting units in the way. 500 hit points and a lot of armor if you get all the research done. Level 3 armor and the chitinous plating gives it a 6 armor rating. That is huge. It basically means Zerglings are useless, Marines are useless, except in extremely large numbers for the Marines. But worth noting is that they don't do full damage against light units, they only do full damage against armored units. And they do quite a lot of damage, and it splashes. A little more useful than they used to be in Brood War, you know? Now, I'm going mass Roach Hydra. See this Overlord just kind of chilling here, and it's an easy pickings. And what I don't realize is that makes my opponent supply locked. Now 68 compared. Yeah, this is just a completely one-sided match right now. But those Ultralisks are dealing a lot of damage. It's ridiculous how much damage they're dealing, considering the one-sidedness of it all before. I didn't realize it at the time that the supply was so lopsided. I was honestly sure that there was a very comparable force. And relatively speaking, he actually did quite a lot of damage. But considering what ended up happening, it just... he never expanded a single time. I'm now on 3 bases. And now we have a nice little chat at the end of the game here. And where I tell him, yeah, I certainly didn't expect that. Now I'm building up because I'm expecting there's going to be a follow-up, a couple more Ultralisks just plow through what's left of my force. And these roaches, they'll be gone. Another force like he just attacked with would probably beat this force right here. Another fungal growth on top of the Hydras, and then the Ultralisk focus down the roaches. Really, there's not much left. But then all these other Hydras, or all these other roaches. Now he's asking, roach or Hydra that kills. Honestly, get a half dozen Ultralisks against the force like I have here, you'll probably plow right through it. But you need to have equal supply, and you need to have something backing up those Ultralisks. Fungal growth is useful, but you're going to want something else to back it up as well. Something like Hydralisks, even with that, or Mutalisks, or if you really want to go heavy on the supply of Broodlord. But, I mean, yeah, 4 hits takes down every roach in the splash range. That's insane. But it's something worth noting. Zerg players, please, when you're playing, don't play off one base for this long. 19-minute game off one base, you're almost guaranteed to lose. I'm in the middle of saturating this base down here. My main is almost mined out, but I've still got the natural coming up, and I was going to take another base either here or down here, or possibly even the natural over here. At that point, I mean, the income difference is tremendous. His main is getting to be mined out. He's got 16 harvesters compared to 51. I feel I don't have a whole lot. I could easily have gotten another 20, probably, to fully saturate 3 bases at once. That probably would be enough. One base play as a Zerg just doesn't work if you don't if you don't change it up after the early game. It'll work for an early bust, but then you better transition. That's all I got for you today, so thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.